What's going on? Tim with Perkins Roofing, and you're watching another video from Perkins Roofing Educational, right? This one is about HOA shared roofs. I want you to beware, this is a warning video, beware of shared HOA roofs. Okay, so there's two types of shared HOA roofs. Number one are shared HOA roofs where the HOA actually owns the entire roof. That's the better option, to be honest with you. The second option is an HOA shared roof where each individual unit owner actually owns that roofing space above them. So you are in control of that roof. You have to pay for that roof section above your roof to be done. You're responsible for that. That is the worst of these two options. So shared HOA roofs, number one is the HOA owns the roof. Number two is you, the individual unit owner, owns the roof. That one's worse. We're going to go over the pros and cons of each of these options and why you have to be careful and why I say beware of these shared roofs, because there are bad things about both of them. And to be honest, it's better to just own a single family if you can deal with it, because then you are in more control of your destiny when it comes to various things. But please know and watch this video so you can understand before you buy, or if you're in an HOA already and you have to learn the hard way, then learn the hard way. But please watch this before you buy so you can understand what kind of messes you might be getting yourself into when you buy a property that has a shared HOA roof. Either the HOA owns it or you, the individual, own that roof. Before we dig further into the video, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please follow us on the Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And if you can, I would love if you can review Perkins Roofing Jupiter and Perkins Roofing Miami on Google and just write about how my videos have helped you, how awesome we are if you've used our services, how great our services are. That is the best thing you can do for me if you appreciate my videos and you appreciate my content and you're learning from my videos. Even if you're another roofer, please just go give me a 5-star on that Google, because you know how important that is as a roofer, how much that can contribute to your business. So please do that if you enjoy my content. Even if you haven't hired me for my services, if you at least like my videos and my educational content, please give me that 5-star review. I would really, really appreciate that. Next things next is if you need any roofing, construction, Perkins Construction too. So we have general contracting services, impact windows, like that, impact windows, doors. If you need any services, siding, painting, concrete restoration, carpentry, give us a call. Perkins Roofing Miami, Perkins Roofing Jupiter, 2 different branches, and then Perkins Franchise. If you're interested in a franchise, if you want to own your own business with Perkins Roofing brand, you're going to get all my tools, you're going to get all my classes, you're going to get all my education, you're going to get all my contracts and documents. It's well worth the initial investment. You can get an SBA loan. It's cheaper than college. Get an SBA loan, and you can make a lot of money. Like you can make $1 million of revenue pretty easy your first year if you follow all my instructions and do things the way that I do it, all on your own. You can make some really good money. You can make doctor money, right? Being a roofer. All you got to do is take out the SBA loan. Way better than going to college. Do this. Way better use of funds. As someone who has a master's degree and went to college twice, I can tell you it's a lot better to use your money to make you more money instead of just sinking into something. So anyway, we'll go through the phone numbers and all that stuff later. Let's dig in. All right. So here we are. Another lovely presentation, right? Am I right? Okay. So the video, we're going to talk about beware of HOA shared roofs. And I'm going to show you different types of shared roofs. So there are 2 types of HOA shared roofs. There are HOA owns the roof, where the HOA owns the entire roof of the entire structure. Like this community here, I actually used to own a townhouse in Fort Lauderdale. But you can see where my clicker is. Each of these buildings, there were, I think, 7 or 8 of these buildings, and it all made up one HOA. And the HOA owned all of these roofs under one thing. So the HOA was responsible for the roofs, meaning that the HOA fees would go into the HOA to cover any roof-related or exterior expenses. That's the way that this HOA worked. Hence why some HOA fees are larger than other HOA fees. It all depends on what exactly the HOA is including. Like this HOA included taking care of the roofs, took care of asphalt paving, took care of landscaping, took care of painting. Basically anything exterior was covered by this HOA, which is both good and bad, as we'll talk about in a little bit here. So the HOA owns the roof. This is most condos or high-rise buildings and some townhouses like these ones pictured within this photo for this place that I used to own. Oop, skipped ahead. Oh, wait. So the next type is individual owns the roof. So this is like, can be a duplex or townhouses. Here's one, a good example where we did this side of this person's roof right here. And this guy owned this roof. And he tried to convince his neighbor to also go in and do his roof at the same time, but he couldn't convince the neighbor. Now, look what it looks like. We can come back to some of that later, but this is an instance where the individual is responsible for their own roof only and not for, the HOA is not responsible. This can happen in communities where there's single-family homes and duplexes like this one. This can also happen in communities where, like, Abacoa, where each building is its own building and there's not like a one master HOA in charge, where like this one here was a gated community where the HOA was very very clearly owned everything within the gated community. This here, like there's single families and duplexes all right next to each other. So like there's a master HOA for the whole community, but it doesn't really specify that, okay, we own certain, all the homes of the duplexes and single family homeowners own all the homes of the single family. Those types of communities make it a little more tough to work on, which is why, like in this case, the individual owned each roof above. Okay, so next, we're going to talk about pros and cons of each of these options, whether it's better for the HOA to own the roof or whether it's better for the individual to own the roof. And my overall view of it is it's better to own your own roof, not in an HOA. But hey, if you live in an HOA, the next step would be, okay, it's better to live in a single family home in an HOA where you're in control of your own property and the HOA maybe is only in control of the landscaping and has like a clubhouse or something like that. That'd be like the best option, number 2. Number 3 would be the HOA owns the entire roof. And lastly, it would be the individual owns a roof, but it's like a shared roof. That's terrible. That's the last one. So we're going to talk about the pros and why I believe this. I'm going to tell you why this is the order that I would select it and why I believe that is the best order of operations. But HOA owns the roof. Here are the pros of the HOA owning the roof. You might recognize this building. It's in Brickell Key in Miami. We're currently doing the roof. You've seen videos of us doing that roof. But pros, the roof is completed in one shot under one contractor warranty, and you don't have to worry about tie-ins. In my experience, it's better to only have one person to blame for any problems. Hopefully it's not me. Hopefully there are no problems with the roof and you're not blaming me. But the benefit of the HOA owning the roof is that the HOA is going to hire one roofing contractor to finish that roof. Hopefully, and they don't fail. Hopefully, the one contractor finishes the one roof. You're only using one type of material. It's all under one system warranty from a manufacturer, and you don't have to worry about tie-ins like here, like how this is all a shared deck here. Which, by the way, something like this violates the 25% rule, which in Florida Building Code, the 25% rule states that if you're going to repair more than 25% of a deck, which in this case it's about 51 or 52% because of the tie-in, if you're going to repair more than 25% of the deck, you have to re-roof the entire structure. That is the 25% rule. There are some places like this that are grandfathered against the 25% rule because obviously you can't make this person roof. If this person wants to do their roof and they have the money and this person doesn't have the money, you can't make them. Like, what are you going to do, right? Now, it sucks for this person because what if this structure just starts falling apart because their roof is so bad and old, it just starts caving in, then the whole thing's going to cave in. So, like, that's what sucks, and that's why, like, I don't recommend this type of ownership. At least in this type of ownership, the roof is all going to be done on one shot. Everything's going to be held accountable. Okay, the next pro is HOA reserves should cover replacement and insurance claims, right? I say should because the HOA is supposed to collect a certain amount of money from you each month, and that money is supposed to be delegated to certain little pockets. Like, okay, here's for the pool. Here's for our terrace deck. Here's for our clubhouse area and our gym. Here's for our roof. Here's for painting. Here's for concrete restoration. You're supposed to have little pockets where the HOA fees should be based on something. They shouldn't just be some random amount, right? Like that should be based on research of the necessary funds that you need to maintain the building. And really, these HOA fees should be in some sort of growth account where they can increase in value over time. Obviously, it's got to be something safe. You can't just put it in an index fund because if the stock market crashes, then people are going to be really mad when you can't take care of the building and you have to do a special assessment. But they should be in some interest-bearing account that's very low risk, like, I don't know, like an online savings or like CDs or something. Like there are all kinds of savings stuff that really that stuff should be in because you have to take inflation into account. If you're planning ahead 20 years that we need to start saving money for our roof in 20 years, you need to take inflation into account because that money that you're putting in right now and the value of the roof right now might be 200 grand, but in 20 years it's probably going to be 600 grand. So you've got to take inflation and compounding interest into account with these types of things. The problem is a lot of HOAs do not do that. And a lot of HOAs also rob from Peter to pay Paul. So it may be that this HOA here, maybe they didn't have enough money for this pool deck. Maybe they selected a very expensive tile, or the pool cost more money than they originally had in the funds, or the tennis court prices on materials or whatever for the tennis court went up, right? Let's say all this stuff happened. Then they're like, we have to do the roof in like 3 years, and we have some extra money over there. We don't want to do the special assessment yet because it's going to make everybody mad at us, and then they're not going to like us as a board, and they're going to vote us out. So why don't we just kick the can further down the road? We'll take some of the money from the roof and use it here on the pool deck or on the lobby or on the gym. This happens all the time in HOAs because boards like to be in control. Those people want to be on the board. It's a political game. They want to be in power. And this is what happens with the government too, by the way, which is why we owe China so much money and trillions of dollars is nobody wants to actually solve the problem. They want to just keep kicking the can down the road and do the little things that look good so that they're like, oh, look how great of a president I was. They don't want to do the hard things, and they kick the can of the hard things down further and further in the road. And then eventually everything's going to just blow up on itself. But hey, at least didn't happen with me. And in the history books, it's going to look good on me because I'm the one who did the terrace deck and made the terrace deck look so beautiful. And we built this marvelous pool. It was the next board that screwed up on the roof, not us. This type of stuff happens all the time. So take that in consideration when you are joining a building or some sort of HOA where your funds are all pooled together to go toward certain things. The funds may not actually go to the things that they're supposed to go toward. Or maybe the reserves are wrong, or the reserve studies were wrong. So, for instance, this building that when I owned here, I'm not going to tell you the name of the condo. I don't want anyone to be mad at me. But this building here, when I lived there, the roof was about 18 or 19 years old. And I know in South Florida, a concrete tile roof, the roof life is about 18 to 22 years. And I was like, this roof is about shot. I got on the board and I said, okay, how much money do we have for the roof? There's about $180,000 for the roof for all the buildings. I looked into the reserve study, and the reserve study said that, the roof is going to cost $250,000 and it's good for 40 years. No. Sorry, a concrete tile roof in South Florida is not good for 40 years. So when I got on the board, I looked into this reserve study and I was like, what happened here? 40 years, where did they come up with this number? Oh, the reserve study was done by a consultant in New York 18 years ago 18 years ago at this time was before Hurricane Wilma, so way before many of the code changes. So they found up this number, $250,000 in 40 years, all based on someone in New York, not even in Florida, before Hurricane Wilma, not familiar with Florida building code, just using some sort of insurance random number per square foot to come up with their number. And they obviously didn't factor in inflation. So since I lived at this building, I wrote a quote that had zero profit in it, right? This is just the cost to do this roof. And the cost was around $400,000. So I'm in this building. The roof is only has about 2 years of roof life. There's only $150,000 in the account for the roof, and they are going to need $400,000 in a couple of years. So I told the board, I told everybody when we had the board meetings, nobody wanted to listen to me. I said, we need to increase the reserves. We all have to vote to increase the reserves. And everyone's like, I don't want my HOA fees to go up. We'll worry about it later. So again, everybody kicks the can down the road. Now, what did I do? I sold that unit as quickly as I could for cash and got the AH out of there before this special assessment had to happen and before this became a major problem for me. So this is something you have to worry about with HOA shared roofs is there are reserve studies done. They're based on reserve studies, usually not by actual contractors, which is not smart. You should probably have contractors do estimates beforehand, or at least ballpark estimates, and provide you a ballpark estimate so you know what kind of expenses you're going to be looking at and when you're going to need to buy. So that's why it's also important to have inspection reports done. Have a roofer come inspect your roof, tell you how many years are left on the roof, tell you how much it's going to cost to do the roof so that you can update your HOA reserves and have appropriate HOA reserves. If you're a responsible HOA board member, this is what you would do, but most board members are not responsible. They only want to look good so they can maintain their power. So just keep that in mind. A lot of politics in this kind of stuff. Oh, we were talking about the pros? Oh, sorry. I forgot that was supposed to be part of the pros. My bad. Yeah, HOAs and me, we don't get along too well unless I'm doing your roof. Then we'll give you a perfect roof like this one on Fisher Island here. So cons, and by the way, none of these pictures here have anything to do with what I'm talking about, except for when I referred back to this building and I didn't give away the name of the building. So if you're at one of these buildings, don't get mad at me. I'm just like your pictures. They're beautiful buildings, and I want to show your buildings off. So cons. Unless you're on the board, you have no say in the selection of the contractor, the warranty, or the products used. You have no say in what's going on. The board selects all this stuff. So you don't get to pick if you want a tile roof or a metal roof. You don't get to pick what type of tile or what color the tile is. You don't get to select what contractor's doing the job, if you want the best contractor or the cheapest contractor. And you don't get to pick what kind of warranty you want. Do you want a 20-year warranty, 25-year warranty, 35-year warranty? You have no say in any of these things. It's the board members. So that's why it's important to have board members who are going to be there for a while. A lot of boards just pick really old people who are retired because they don't have a job, so they have the time to do it. But the problem with that, and no offense to my retired people who are watching this, is that I've had a million, I've been doing this for a long time. I've had a million different board members tell me, I don't care, I'm going to be dead in 10 years anyway. That is not good for the longevity of the building. You should have younger people on the boards who actually do care, who are planning to be at the building for a long time and who do care. Like I was when I was at this building. I was planning to own that place forever and rent it forever. This is the only time I've ever sold a property. And the reason was because nobody was listening to me, and I knew that there were problems that were going to be in the future, and nobody wanted to resolve those problems. And I was like, okay, nobody's listening to me even when I'm on the board, so I'm going to get out of here. And that's what I did. So something to consider. Even when you're on the board, you may not be able to do anything because you're only one vote, right? So even though I was on the board for this place, I was only one vote, and usually there's 3 or 5 votes. I was only one vote. I could not convince everyone else to go along with me, hence the problems. I also wanted to change the metal, but again, and it's on the water. This place was waterfront on a river, so it should be aluminum metal, but whatever. You live and you learn. So HOA, other cons, I recommend if you are doing a roof and you're in a shared roof HOA, get a bid sheet. And you don't have to hire a consultant. I have a lot of friends who do this and are just roof consultants. You don't have to hire an engineer. Engineers are expensive. You can use a manufacturer. Like if you call my good friends at Polyglass, they will provide you a bid sheet for free, assuming that you're going to use their product, so that you can get apples to apples bids. So if you reach out to Polyglass, they will provide you a free bid sheet to use at your building so that every contractor has to bid off of the bid sheet so that everybody is bidding the same exact system, so that you don't have apples versus oranges versus pears. You have apples versus apples versus apples. You should definitely have a bid sheet. If you're in a building like this and you are bidding your home out, have a bid sheet to make sure that all of your bid is going apples to apples to apples. Polyglass will do this for commercial buildings for free. For residential buildings, they're not going to do that. I'm sorry. But they'll do this for free or for a very minimal charge for commercial buildings. And they'll even go through the selection process and review the contracts for you. If you want to pay them a little extra, call my friends John Massengill and Kelsey at Building Envelope Associates, and they can do this for you. They can go through the bid and do it at a very reasonable price to make sure that everything is apples to apples and that all of the bid items match the bid sheet. All right, we already talked about this. Reserves may be wrong. That's a big con for the HOA owning the roof. They may not have saved enough money. The reserve study might be wrong. Maybe nobody has done a reserve study in nearly 20 years. Maybe the person that did the reserve study is not familiar with Florida construction and that things don't last as long down here because of salt water, because of sun, because of rain, for a number of reasons. And if the reserves are wrong, the building may need to do a special assessment, which is going to make people mad. The boards don't want to make people mad because they want to stay in power, so they don't want to make people mad. They don't do the special assessment, so they kick the project further down the road, kick the can down the road. This happens all the time. Number 3, board may put off the project way too long, kicking the can down the road until major structural failures occur. This happens all the time. Nobody wants to be responsible. I was at a roof the other day, and an old guy told me, if it was me, even though I'm not going to be here, I'm going to be dead. Nobody else cares. I would put a 30-year roof on and do the beefy polyfresco roof system, right? 30-year warranty like we are doing at this building. They want to do the big polyfresco, all the extra layers, all the stuff. But at this particular building, they said, everyone here is older. Nobody cares. We're all going to be dead. So just give us the cheapest roof. That's literally what this person on the board told me. So this happens all the time. Or they kick the can down the road. They don't want to be the ones responsible for doing the roof. They'd rather do the nice, pretty things like the pool in the lobby than do the roof, because nobody looks at the roof. But guess what? We're in Florida. The roof is what protects everything inside your home. So you need to do the roof. You need to have a high quality roof that's going to last a long time. It doesn't need to be the prettiest, but you at least need a high functionality roof. You don't have to pay for a Ludwisi tiles, right? But you need a high functioning roof that's not going to leak. That's what you need. And that's not going to result in structural issues like parapet walls collapsing, cooling towers being at risk of falling, all kinds of HVAC equipment failing on the roof, leaks all over the place, old leaks that nobody's treated. This kind of stuff happens all the time and leads to lawsuits, especially in HOAs. So it's important to not kick the can down the road. But this is a major con. It happens all the time. So be wary that if you're going to join a building like this or like this, a big condo, that these are the politics that you're going to have to play in something like that. All right. Individual owns the roof. Pros. You have control of selecting the contractor, the price. You can pick whether you care more about quality or price, the materials that are going to be used on the roof, even the color, and the warranty, etc. You see here's a duplex that we did. We did this side, not this side. This person tried to call this person and tried to tell them to do their side too. You can see clearly here that this is not in good shape, even though this other side here was only done like 4 years prior. Bad contractor. What are you going to do? This person wanted a good contractor. They went with me. This person, they didn't care. They just went the cheapest way, and you can see the results 4 years down the line. You also get to control the timeline. You can select when you do your roof if you own your own roof, right? As an individual, you can select it for when you have the money. You can select it to do it in dry season and not in rainy season. You can select when the project occurs. If you want to do windows first and then roof, or if you want to do roof first and then windows, that's all your selection. The neighbors also cannot stop you. You can do whatever you want. This person cannot stop this person from doing the roof on their side, and vice versa. Those are the pros of the individual owning the roof rather than the HOA. Well, Tim, really sounds like it's way better to individually own my roof, even in a shared roof, than to deal with all this political crap you were talking about of board fighting, reserves being wrong, all that stuff. Well, let's wait a second until we get to the next slide, shall we? All right. Cons of an individual owning the roof. The tie-ins. What do I mean by tie-in? You see here on this flat roof where my cursor is, we have a new roof and an old roof. This is all one deck. This roof has to be tied into this one. So when you're doing a tie-in, I technically had to bring my roofing system onto their side of the property to properly sandwich the layers of the paper and create a tie-in between the two roofing systems. You can see, unfortunately, there's a little bit of water that's coming onto our side here, but there's nothing that could have been done without doing this one, because this contractor, when they did the roof 4 years ago, they never fixed the trusses. They just left bad trusses there that are terminated out. So what are you going to do? That's a tie-in. Now here, there is a townhouse here. You see this window here and this window here. Between these two windows right down the middle is a wall. There's a firewall inside, but there's not a firewall on the deck. This is all a shared deck. These individual townhouses all own their own roof. Tie-ins are a major problem with this kind of thing. So I have at these buildings, this is in Abacoa. There's a lot of these townhouses in Abacoa, and I've had a number of these owners tell me, can we get the whole building to do the roof? We'll get to that in a second. Let me talk about the tie-ins first. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the tie-ins, you can see it's very important to make sure that the two layers tie into each other. Also, warranty length is less. So when I did this roof, and when I did this roof here, since I'm doing these sides, I treat these roofs like a giant repair. I'm not giving a 10-year warranty. Usually, if I'm doing a full roof, like this one, I gave a 10-year Perkins Roofing warranty, and there's like a 30-year Polyglass Roofing warranty too. This one's like a 35-year Polyglass warranty. So you get a 10-year from Perkins and like 35 from the manufacturer. On something like this, you can't do that. First off, these are residential, so you can't get a manufacturer system warranty. You only get the manufacturer labor and material warranty, which is a little less. Basically, labor and material warranty versus system warranty. A labor and material warranty, and I've talked about this in other videos, covers the materials and any labor to repair any defective material. That's what you get on residentials. On a system warranty, which is what you can get on a commercial building, on a system warranty, Polyglass is going to cover all labor and all materials after a 2-year waiting period or whatever it is. Usually there's like a waiting period. After that 2-year period, they cover any defects with the roof whatsoever. So any repairs, any materials, anything, except for standard maintenance, Polyglass would cover. So that's how that works. That's the difference between a system warranty, which you have to pay for, and a regular labor and material workmanship warranty, or a labor and material warranty. It doesn't cover the workmanship. It only covers the labor to fix any material defect. I hope that makes sense. So when I'm giving a warranty on something like this, I'm only giving, like her, I gave her on the shingle roof a 7-year warranty, but on the flat roof, I only gave her a 1-year warranty because I was like, this is basically a big repair for me. I'm basically repairing half of the roof because I'm not redoing the whole structure here. I'm not redoing the whole roof. I can't fix the bad trusses here because this is the neighbor's side. So the warranty on something like this on a shared deck is going to be less. On a shared deck, this warranty is less because I can't guarantee that this side is good. What if there's a leak over here and it migrates over here? This is what happened in this instance. There's a leak right here from this valley in this person's unit, this lady's unit where my cursor is. And then over here, this is my client. They called me about a leak. I went in the attic and I said, look, this leak is coming from the valley next door. Like, how do you know? I can see the water migrating to the side. That's where the your valley is a weak point. I told him there's a 99.9% chance that this leak is coming from the valley. And then he tells me, well, this lady here that owns this unit, I have no idea who she is. Let me try to get her contact number. He called the lady, and the lady thought it was a scam. She's like, don't call me ever again. This is a scam. Get out of here. And then he's like, well, I want to fix my roof. And she's like, look, don't walk on my side. If it's coming from my side, you need to sign a waiver. So I sent them a waiver because I have a waiver for these types of roofs, right? I have a waiver because I've had people, when I do this side of the roof, on the other side here, after I do this side, they'll start calling, but saying, oh, my roof is leaking. I never had any roof leaks until this roofer did this side of the roof over here. Now I have 1 million roof leaks. No, I know that this side was bad and had a bunch of roof leaks, which is why they paid me to do the re-roof. That means that you probably also had a bunch of roof leaks. That's why I made you sign a waiver saying that I'm not responsible for any of your roof leaks or anything in the tie-in here on your side of the roof. My warranty only covers this side of the roof. Anything that happens over here is on you. I make them sign a waiver before I'm going to do something like this. And if they don't sign the waiver, then I'm not going to take this project on. It's not worth the risk. Because I've had people on this side that then try to sue me and say, I have all these leaks, blah, blah, blah. None of these ever happened until this side. And then here, me as a contractor, I have no evidence. I've never been into this person's house. They're not my client. This person is. I have no evidence of any leaks, but I guarantee all those leaks are pre-existing from before I was ever here. This side had a bunch of leaks. They needed to do their roof. They paid for it. This person's trying to get a free roof out of me via a lawsuit or an insurance claim, and it's BS. And this is the type of thing you run to, especially in Florida and especially in these types of roofs. So as a contractor, you have to be very careful. So you give a 1-year warranty for something like that as a repair, because I'm basically doing a 50%. I'm doing a giant repair here, right? 50% of the house is being repaired. I'm not doing a re-roof because I'm not changing the whole deck. I'm not changing the whole structure and fixing the whole structure. I'm not stamping this whole structure with Perkins Roofing. I'm only doing a giant repair on this side. That's the way that I see it when I'm doing something like this, which is why individually owned roofs are a bad idea. And not to mention, like I said, you need to have a waiver. Material variations. This is another thing. Before we get into the neighbor issues, which is the biggest thing, we're going to talk about material variations, old versus new, and color batch, etc. Like you can see right here. Here's the new tile and here's the old tile. Number one, these are different tiles. This tile here, the old one, is discontinued. This one is the new one. It's very, very similar, but it's not the same tile. So interlocking, they interlock a little bit differently. So now we have two types of tile, two variations, two different tile. Now, the next problem. If this person in 1 year decides to do their roof, even if they hire me, and I get the same exact tile, the same exact color, that tile is going to be from a different batch number. The color is going to be different. In concrete tiles, all have batch numbers, and clay tiles, they have batch numbers, just like paint. It's all batch numbers. So there will be a slight variation in the color of the tile, even if it's the same tile, same contractor, same color, all selected. Batch numbers. And other thing on the tile, this one at that point will have 1 year of sun fade, and this one won't. So the color is going to be different. This will have sun fade. This will not have sun fade. This may have been pressure cleaned, which is going to blast some of the color out of the tiles, even though I don't recommend that. Spray it instead. Call me. Don't pressure clean your tile roofs. Use BioShield. Call me. We can spray it on. So this other side here is going to be different than the other one. There's going to be variations in the materials. Now, the last thing, neighbor issues. I already talked about waivers. You need to have your neighbor sign a waiver. Neighbor must sign a waiver. I've had issues where you have long lost neighbors, where this person didn't know this person, right? And literally the owner of this unit wasn't even the person in here. This guy lived in Canada and called me for his leaks for his tenant. And this lady also doesn't own this unit. She's also a landlord and renting it to somebody else. So they don't know each other. How do you get in touch? He calls her. She thinks it's a scam, right? What do you do about long lost neighbors? These buildings here lost a ton of shingles and had a ton of damage after the hurricane this year, Michael or whatever it was in October. And I talked to this guy, I talked to a guy over here, I talked to another guy over here, and they all wanted to do an insurance claim, right? Some of these people all wanted to do an insurance claim, couldn't make it happen because nobody knew who a bunch of the other owners were. They would go and knock on the tenant's door. Do you have your landlord's number? No, I don't even know who they are. So to do something like this, you need everybody's information to file an insurance claim. So they couldn't even file an insurance claim, even though they had legitimate damages from the storm and probably could have gotten re-roofs. They don't know the other people, so you can't even make it happen. Major problem. Major problem. All right, so long lost neighbors, and then leaks from the neighbor side. So to continue here on this story about this particular job here, we opened all this up here. The lady said, don't walk on my side. We see even from the top now that the bad wood is ending right here and coming straight into this valley, just like I had predicted. And then my client has to call the lady again and say, look, the leak is going on your side. Here's the updated pictures. And she said, okay, now I know you're not a scam, but I don't believe you. Here's a waiver. You can walk on my roof, but I'm not paying for anything. You have to pay for it. So now this lady, even though the leak is in her valley, it's coming down all into his side, making his whole fascia rot out. All this wood here was all bad, all because this lady had a leak that she wasn't fixing on her side. Really, this should have been split 50-50. But this lady made this poor guy pay for me to come over onto her side and fix her leak that was migrating into his area. This is why individual owns the roof when it's a shared roof with other neighboring roofs sucks. This poor guy here was being responsible, wanted his tenant to be happy. This lady here, he didn't give a crap about her tenants, has a leak that's starting on her side. The leak gets so bad it starts going onto his side. And now this guy has to pay for the whole thing. On a 3-story townhouse, it's like a $5,000 or $6,000 job. And this happened during a hurricane. This is what happens. This is why individual owns the roof on a shared roofing system is the worst. Because you don't want to be responsible for your neighbor's problems. How's that your fault? That's not fair to you. And then if your neighbor's being a pain and won't understand that it's really the leak is their fault, it's coming from their side, they should pay for the whole thing. They won't even offer to pay you 50-50. It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to sue them? You're going to just pay for it? You're going to sue them? Those are your options. That's why this sucks. Yep, that's why all this sucks. So hopefully you learned something from this video. Everyone's gonna be commenting, I'm never buying a place in an HOA again, blah blah blah. I'm ready for it. That's what's gonna happen now. So let's end the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching another Perkins Roofing video. If you're looking for roofing services or GC services in Miami-Dade, Broward, or the Keys, call us at 305-MIA-ROOF. If you're looking for roofing services or general contracting services, mostly exterior stuff, in Palm Beach, Martin, or St. Lucie counties, give us a call at 561-559-ROOF. That's Perkins Roofing, Perkins Construction, Perkins Franchising. Email me at franchise@perkinsroofing.net if you're interested. I'm looking for franchisees. The whole state of Florida is cut up. I want to grow this bad boy out through the whole state. I need partners and team members to join with me to make this thing a reality and to grow Perkins Roofing. Again, my systems are pretty dummy proof. My classes are going to make you the most knowledgeable roofer in your area. You're going to get all the pricing guides you need, pricing calculators. Your whole business will be turnkey. Make it easy. If you start your business from scratch, you have to figure things out on the fly. You're going to be making custom forms and calculators. You're not going to have any idea what you're doing. You're not going to get the pricing that I get. I get the best pricing at ABC Supply with my vendors. I get all my certifications, so you'll get my certifications and be a higher end polyglass contractor, GAF, all my certifications you will also get. So if you're interested in this, then please let me know and shoot me an email and we can talk more about you becoming a franchise owner with Perkins Roofing. Again, the shared roofs, really risky. I have been a part of HOAs on my own with this sort of thing, so you can take me at my word even as a former board member, what kind of problems you can run into. Hopefully this video informed you so that you know what you're getting into if you're buying a property that has either one of these types of shared roofs, whether the HOA owns it or whether you own it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.